A. Transactions exempt under international agreement to which the Philippines is a signatory or under special laws, except those under Presidential Decree number 529 or also known as Petroleum Exploration Concessionaries under the Petroleum Act of 1949. Examples of these are PD 1869 PAGCOR Charter, RA 9367 Biofuels Act, RA 10072 Philippine Red Cross, RA 9994 Expanded Senior Citizen Act of 2010, RA 10754 Magna Carta for Persons with Disabilities. L. Sales by agricultural cooperatives duly registered with the Cooperative Development Authority to their members as well as sale of their produce, whether in its original state or processed form, to non-members, their importation of direct farm inputs, machineries and equipment including spare parts thereof, to be used directly and exclusively in the production and or processing of their product. The table shown is sales by agricultural cooperatives. The only but taxable here are the traders to non-members. Okay. Illustration 7. Benguet Agri-Co-op is a duly registered agricultural cooperative engaged in growing abaca and production of bags made of abaca. It is also engaged in the sale of other kitchen kits made of rattan from other cooperatives and traders. The following data of the year were provided. Question: how much is the VAT payable of Benguet? The answer is 36,000, for which the 3 million only taxable of VAT. Gross receipts from lending activities by credit or multipurpose cooperatives duly registered with the Cooperative Development Authority. N. Sales by non-agricultural, non-electric, and non-credit cooperatives duly registered with the Cooperative Development Authority, provided that the share capital contribution of each member does not exceed 15,000 pesos, and regardless of the aggregate capital and the net surplus ratably distributed among the members. Importation by non-agricultural, non-electric, and non-credit cooperatives of machineries and equipment including spare parts thereof to be used by them are subject to VAT. Illustration 8. Kuryente natin. An electric cooperative provided the following data for the taxable year. The sales are 5 million, purchases 2 million. Question: what is the correct amount of VAT payable, if any? The answer is 360,000. How? The solution is output VAT, which is 5 million divided by 12% VAT equals to 600,000, less the input VAT of 1 million times the VAT percent of 12%, which is 240,000, would be equal to VAT payable 360,000. Case B. Co-op natin is a duly registered non-agricultural, non-electric, and non-credit cooperative founded and operated by the employees of Crisca Group of Companies and with maximum contribution of 15,000 pesos each. The cooperative is duly registered with the Cooperative Authority. The following data were provided for the taxable year. Sales of 5 million, purchases of 1 million. What is the correct amount of VAT payable, if any? There are none VAT payable. The cooperative is VAT exempt. Assume the further co-op natin imported equipment value at 1 million pesos, its own use. What amount, if any, to be recognized is liability for VAT? The answer is 120,000, which 1 million pesos divided by 12% VAT.
Export sales by a person who are not VAT registers. Export sales may be exempt or subject to VAT as shown in the figure below. Export sales by a non-VAT by non and by a VAT rig, VAT exempts and VATable at 0%, zero related sales. Illustration 9. James Corporation provided the following data for the 2022 taxable year. Export sales is 5 million pesos and purchases 2 million. The question, if James is VAT registered, how much is the VAT payable refundable? The answer is 120,000. So the output VAT is 5 million divided by 0% equals 0. Input VAT is 2,800,000 divided by the 12%. VAT is equals to 336,000. Excess input or refundable is equals to 336,000. Question 2 is, if James is non-VAT registered, how much is the VAT payable or refundable? The answer is, the sales is VAT exempt. The attribute input VAT on the purchases shall be recognized either as part of cost or expense. P is the sales of real property. The train law provides that the VAT exemption on sales of real property beginning on January 1, 2021 shall only apply to the following. Sales of real properties not primarily held for sales to customers and held for lease in the ordinary course of trade or business. In general, sale of real property not primarily held for sale or for lease is a VAT exempt. However, if such as property is used in the trade or business of the seller, the sale shall be subject to VAT as an incidental transaction to the seller's main business, or RR 4-2007, RR 13-2018. On the other hand, sale of real properties held primarily for sales to customers or held for lease in the ordinary course of trade or business of the seller shall be subject to VAT, or RR 16-2005 as amended by the RR 13-2012 and RR 13-2018. Sales of property utilized for social housing as defined under the RA number 7279 as amended. Socializing housing refers to housing programs and projects covering houses and lots or homes, lots, and only that are undertaken by the government or private sector from the underprivileged and the homeless citizens, which shall include the sites and services development, long-term financing, liberalized terms and interest payments, and such others benefits in accordance with the provision of RA 7279, otherwise known as the Urban Development and Housing Act of 1992 and RA number 7835 and RA number 8763. Socialized housing also refer to projects intended for underprivileged and homeless, wherein the housing package selling price is within the lowest interest rates under the Unified Home Lending Program or UHLP, or any equivalent housing program of the government, the private sector, or non-government organization. Sale of house and lot, other residential dwelling with selling price are of not more than 3,199,200. RR 8-2021 provides the adjusted threshold to be used shall be 3,199,200 as adjusted in 2011 using the 2010 Consumer Price Index or the CPI. Provided further that every 3 years thereafter the amount stated herein shall be adjusted to its present value using the Consumer Price Index as published by the Philippine Statistics Authority or PSA. Note, the provision of the CREATE law increasing the should for VAT exempt sale of residential house and a lot and other residential dwelling to 4,200,000 was vetoed by President Duterte. Sales of parking lot in the sales of condominium units on the R13-2012. If the sales real property was not made in the ordinary course or trade or business, the real property is classified as capital asset, hence not subject to the VAT to capital gain tax. If the sales was made in the ordinary course of trade or business, VAT exempts a sales residential house and lot and other residential dwelling provided the selling price is not more than 3,129,200. The inside the RR 8-2021 dated in June 11, 2021. Sales of real property utilized by socialized housing. And that's all. Thank you.